Okay, so as I was saying, I'm Lauren Cohen. I'm here with my partner, Craig Peleg. Craig is the realtor side. I'm also a realtor, but I'm also an international lawyer. We're going to talk a little bit about how these investment properties, the availability, how to finance them, how to access them, and how to legally access them, and potentially use some of them toward a path to a visa as you're beginning on your journey toward that. Some of you want visas, some of you don't. I have a separate webinar all about visas, which some of you have attended, and I'd be happy to talk with you about that individually. We'll go through that just very, very generally, but the most common visa for immigration, for Canadian immigration purposes is an E2 visa. It's based on investment, a substantial investment in a non-marginal business, and there is a way to use real estate as a part of that substantial investment. But it's always great to have a complementary business to go with it. Some people choose more complementary businesses, some people choose less. That it just depends. But there are lots of options available, lots of price points, and these vacation properties are available for you to release. In other words, rent out as Airbnbs, as short-term rentals. Some of them have management companies in place. Some of them have leasebacks, which we'll talk about, but it's all great. And I'll let Craig introduce himself. Craig?
Yeah. All right, guys. How's everyone doing tonight? My name is Craig Peleg. I've been in the real estate business about 18 years. My family's been in the real estate industry nearly 5 decades here in South Florida. In the beginning of my career, I was selling these vacation rentals literally every single day, almost traveling up to Orlando. We're getting back to that point because the market is just on fire in that area. All of the major hedge funds are bringing money into the Orlando area due to all the theme parks and attractions that are available. I am a licensed real estate broker here in Florida. I've managed dozens of agents in my brokerage. And I've had a strong focus on investments. I'm an investor myself, and certainly am here to be a resource for you regarding these vacation rental properties.
Thank you. All right, so we are talking about 7 benefits of working with our team, and these are in order. The first was obviously to get access to both of us on both sides of the fence. The second is that you can access incredible leaseback options. We're going to go into much greater detail about these for each of the projects later on in the presentation, but suffice it to say that you can have a guaranteed leaseback for 12 to 24 months with different incentives from each project. And this allows you pain-free cash flow and ROI. Now, the important thing to remember is that this is not really, when it has a totally passive way of accessing income, that's not a path to a visa because you have to be actively involved in running a business. But we can be very creative in the way that we structure it and allow you to include part, if not all, of your investment in the process, okay? This slide talks about financing options. Number 3, that we can secure amazing financing rates, not only through the leasebacks or the financing that's available through these projects, but also through some of our individual colleagues. For example, it's funny because Craig, I don't know if I shared this picture with you, but the sponsor of my podcast is called Lendi. Lendi is an artificial intelligence driven program that lends money to foreign investors from Canada, the UK, Israel, and Australia. And for very low financing rates, it was 60-40. Now it's up to 70-30. So they're funding only 30% down, and they're funding the 70%. The only challenge with this funding opportunity at the moment is that they're not funding short-term rentals, but that's about to change. They're working with their underwriting company. Why did I say, Craig, you should have seen the picture? So I'm not really allowed to share the picture. I said, can I put this on Facebook? But Yair, who is the founder of Lendi, sent me a picture. He is a general in the Israeli Defense Forces, and today he had to go back to Israel for 2 weeks to serve. And today he sent me a picture of him with his gun. And my son's like, is he going to shoot somebody? I'm like, Zev, you know better. You've been to Israel a million times. I was like, wow, where are you? He goes, I can't tell you. So anyway, we have a great lending option specifically for Canadians and other foreign investors investing in US real estate. And it's great because, you know, it's not based on income. It's not based on US credit. It's based on different things, and you have to have an entity. So it's a great option that's available for my clients that I really, really connected with. Elliot, are you here?
Yes, I am. How you guys
Okay,
doing?
hi. So
Hello.
this is my good friend and one of the newest Boca Raton residents, Elliot Malek. As I mentioned to you earlier, Elliot has just moved here from Ottawa, and each day that he's here, he's probably happier as it gets closer into the winter. And he's like, I don't really want to deal with the cold and the snow. And so Elliot is the guy that helps us avoid this double taxation through expert advice. Elliot, I'll just give you a moment to just say hi and
Sure.
tell people kind of what you do for all of my clients pretty much.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the introduction. It's nice to meet everybody. As Lauren mentioned, I am a cross-border tax accountant. Originally, I'm from Ottawa. I was born and raised there, but recently moved to Boca Raton in August. I've been down here for a couple of months on an E2 visa. So I basically brought my tax practice, and I'm starting up an insurance company as well down here in South Florida, which is what allowed me to obtain the E2 visa and move down here permanently for, well, at least for the next 4 or 5 years with my family. So I run a more of a virtual or remote type cross-border firm. So I specialize working with Canadians that want to buy US real estate, work with a lot of US citizens that live here in Canada, and I work with a lot of Canadian businesses that do cross-border tax. But my area of specialty and my area of focus is primarily with Canadians that are buying some type of US real property in the United States, whether it's for vacation purposes, whether it's for rental purposes, or for personal use purposes, whatever the case may be. So we kind of work on a strategy for that specific individual or family member that helps mitigate those double taxation situations and really put a plan in place that makes sense for them and their families. So.
Elliot is like, literally, I don't walk down the street without, like, I don't talk to clients. I'm like, okay, we're not going any further. You got to talk to Elliot. So he is the first stop, and it's a stopgap, and everybody has to go through him because at the end of the day, he saves our hides, right? We don't want to pay the CRA all of the money that we make here. And so he helps us to make sure that happens and does all the taxes too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the issues I find with a lot of Canadians is that there's no really clear cut one size fits all model that fits everybody, right? And that's what everybody looks for. They want a quick 5-minute explanation on their situation and how to mitigate it. But the problem is that every situation is different because you might have individuals that are looking to spend most of the year in the US, maybe they have businesses in Canada. So there's certain different situations for every single individual and family member that's going to be very unique to your situation. That takes a lot of time and patience essentially to put a proper strategy in place that makes sense for your family. So,
thank you, Elliot.
Yeah.
So don't worry, we will connect you with Elliot. Everybody gets connected to Elliot. The poor guy is like, okay, I'm going to make time here. I'm going to make time here. So he's very, very busy. So thank you, Elliot, for joining us. And he's really incredible. He's been an incredible asset for myself and my business, and thank you. So the number 5 is how to overcome complex cross-border challenges through a team of experts. And these are the top 10 issues that we see in terms of things to avoid when you're investing cross borders. So I do have a download available for you with all of these 10 that I will share with you when Craig is speaking. But basically, the most important ones are the failure to hire the right team, approaching it, as Elliot said, one size fits all when it's not doing due diligence, investing in properties like, Mike and Leanne see this in Ohio where they're like $40,000, $50,000. It's like unheard of, not even a down payment in Ontario. But it doesn't always mean that $40,000 or $50,000 property is such a great deal. So you've got to still do your due diligence, and you've got to walk before you run and have a strategy in place so that you don't invest haphazardly. And also, and my good friends Dave and Mel Dupuis love this, and so do most real estate investors, not over leveraging your own money and under capitalizing what you're doing, but trying to use other people's money or other people's funding to do it. So that's number 5. Number 6 is to invest in your dream property. We're going to talk about 4 projects in just a moment. That's going to be Craig. The Embassy Suites Condo Hotel is the first Hilton condo hotel available for vacation rentals. The Grove and the Grove Terraces, Windsor Island, and Story Lake. 2 of these are condos and 2 of them are single family. Oh, and now I'm going to turn it over to Craig.
Okay, awesome. Lauren, you want to give me control? Okay. Let's do this. Let me get to the same page you were on. Can you guys see my screen now? Yeah?
Yep.
All right. So first we're going to talk about the Embassy Suites project. As Lauren mentioned, the Embassy Suites project is actually the first condo hotel by Hilton ever to be put out there and into the marketplace. They're about 4 months and 2 weeks into sales. They are 80% sold out of the first of 5 buildings in the project, and they're already taking reservations on the second building. Lauren and I did a presentation with Stephanie, one of the sales girls there. She spent about 40 minutes with us today. So if any of you have strong interest in this project, we have a really detailed video that we can share with you. But basically, this is the first Hilton hotel project to be released. It's a hands-off vacation property. Hilton is going to be managing the property, so you don't have to be concerned with dealing with collecting rents and managing the property. It's not a timeshare. You have condominium ownership in the property. The developer is Encore Capital Management. They are developing all over the United States. Some of the biggest projects in Orlando are being developed by Encore. This particular project is adjacent to the Margaritaville Resort. They have cottages and a hotel there. They're building villas. It's a humongous resort. Property values at the Margaritaville Resort have just skyrocketed. One of my very dear friends in the business at Keller Williams sells in there. She was an initial resident. She's selling over $15 million worth of real estate each and every month in Margaritaville. So we know that the future appreciation on this project looks really promising. There are about 300 units in the 5 buildings. The first building has 60 units. It will be delivered August, September of next year. The second building also will be delivered around the same time. Again, 80% of the first phase is already sold out. And in the first building, building 2, they're taking reservations and they have a waiting list as we speak. The Oasis Beach Club, which is its own private beach club. The folks at Margaritaville Resort cannot use that area, is specific to this particular project, and it will be delivered with the first 2 buildings come August or September. They will be increasing prices as each building is released. They have a handful of units still left in building 1 that started in the 230s. Building 2 starting in the 240s. So they've already had, depending on the unit, somewhere between a $10,000 and $25,000 or so price increase, and they'll continue to increase as the buildings get sold out. As far as different sized units, there are different size studios, 2 different studios. One of the studios that we were looking for another client of ours was really interesting. It had 2 lockout units. So on both sides of the unit, they're adjacent to 2 bedrooms on each corner of the building. And so when somebody has a large family, that's, let's say, a family of 4 that are staying in a 2-bedroom, and they have 2 other guests that they want to be with, they can use one of the lockout units. That studio locks out on both sides. Okay. So the 1-bedroom units are starting, the studio units are starting at $242,900, upwards of there. The first building, they were starting in the 230s. There are still a few left in that first building. The 1-bedrooms are starting in the low 3s, and then the 2-bedroom units start in the low 4s. Now, I will tell you that this particular project, you'll probably be seeing 5-6% ROI on the project. In the very beginning, until the project starts taking off, it might be a little bit slow, but a year, 2, 3, it's going to blow up. She was talking about all the Hilton Rewards members are going to be notified about this project. I forgot how many millions of Hilton Rewards members they have, but it's a tremendous database that they're going to be promoting this to. Plus, you have all these folks that want to stay at Margaritaville Resort, and there's no, and many times there's no availability. So there'll be lots and lots of overflow. They also discussed with us today that they're adding over 40,000 square feet of space for convention center space for corporate events. So there are going to be a lot of corporate events there as well. As far as deposits go, the first deposit is 10% due upon signing a contract and selecting a unit. In building 1, they were taking $5,000 initial deposits just to secure something. Within a couple days time, they want you to put 10% deposit down. Your second deposit is going to be another 10%, 30 days out from signing, and the final deposit of 10% is when the roof is installed, which is going to be the first quarter of next year. And they anticipate delivering these properties sometime around August, September of next year. For those folks that are out of state or out of the US and want to come check out the area, there is a $2,500 credit that they will issue you for hotel stay, Ubers, travel expenses during your Orlando visit, and that will be issued as a closing cost credit at closing. For domestic owners that are in the US, we can get financing as low as 20%, and for our international buyers, 35%. And if you guys are interested in speaking to lenders on pricing and those type of things, or the management company, we can certainly connect you. One of the main features of buying in this property is its location. So it's only less than 10 minutes from Walt Disney World, directly next door to this project. Okay, it is Sunset Walk. Okay, so Sunset Walk has over 15 different restaurants. I ate at Rock and Brews with my daughter the other day. Ford's Garage, there's Mexican place in there, British pub. The cool thing is almost every one of these restaurants have live music. There's a beautiful movie theater called Studio Movie Grill that's on site. It's sugar, an arcade for the kids to keep them busy. They have events going on here pretty much every single weekend, live music 7 days a week. So when you're staying at this resort, you go downstairs in the evening, you have dinner or lunch, and there's music being played. It's really, really a relaxing environment. These are just a couple of the Memorial Day photos. They do fun stuff for the kids. There's events every major holiday. These are some of the restaurants that are there. You can see them for yourself. I'm not going to read them off, but there's shopping there, the movie theater, everything's next door. And for the kiddies and for the moms and dads who like water parks, this is one of the coolest water parks. Stephanie was mentioning it. Lauren, what did she say? You can like customize the music that when you go down the slide.
The color of the water.
Right, the color of the water, and
it can change. You can push a button on your phone and change the color of the water as you're going down the slide.
And you can track your kids and your family members all over the park through some apps, so everyone knows where everyone is at the same time. It's very affordable, about $60 per year for a membership to the water park. So whenever you're there, you can utilize that, and it's within walking distance of the hotel. So I'm going to move on to the next project, which is also very, very close to Disney World. All these projects are pretty much about, I would say, somewhere between 5 and 12 minutes from, with the exception of the last project is probably about 15 minutes, but they're all within 5 to 15 minutes of Disney. The Grove has 5 main buildings. They're sort of finishing up the last of the units in the section that's called the Grove Water Park. Has a huge water park. These 5 buildings, there's underground parking for all of the buildings, so very convenient. You're not getting wet, and you can get right into your unit from the garage. This is another aerial view. You have the Safari Water Park, the big water park. You also have several pools within the location. There's this huge lake where there are paddle boats for you to enjoy, hammocks all over the property just to chill out Lauren and I went there with my children and her son, had a great time. And there are meeting rooms and some convention space as well. This is a little overview of the water park that we enjoyed several times. You have a lazy river on the premises, huge pool, water slides for the kids. There's a wave simulator on site there, and then there is a huge restaurant where you can order food, and they do deliver drinks and food poolside, which is great. And there are cabanas available for rent. So there's just another couple shots. The newer section of the Grove is called the Terraces. You'll see it's a little bit different look of the buildings. These are some renditions of what the buildings will look like. They'll be delivered in about a year's time from now. These are just some additional screenshots of the water park and the restaurant. So there's about, I think, 3 or 4 different restaurants on site at the Grove. And then you have a quick like grab food and go pizza, snacks, all kinds of stuff. They're open late if you get hunkering for a meal. And they do have delivery of food, pizza and different food, catering directly to the rooms if you like. So the Grove Resort, as I mentioned, they have a handful of units left. There's 26 of them still available, 2 bedrooms. There's 23 units. They start from $460 and up. And then the 3 bedrooms start from $534. These are, in my opinion, more geared towards end users at this point, because it's the latter part of the project. And they're larger units. They come completely furnished. The 2 bedrooms range from 1,265 to 1,434 square feet. And they accommodate up to 6 people. The 3 bedrooms accommodate up to 8 people. They're 1,400 to 1,500 plus square feet. And so the deposits on the Grove are $5,000 to reserve a unit, 20% additional deposit within 15 days, and the balance of deposits an additional 15 to 20% at closing. Now, this is for foreign nationals. It's a little bit less expensive deposit-wise because there's a little bit better financing. You probably get your finance at 20 to 25% down, whereas our foreign nationals are financing at 35 to 40% down. Now, the Terraces is the newer section. So the Terraces are going to have access to 3 restaurants, 3 large pools, a pool lounge, full service spa, arcade, fitness center, grab and go market, lobby bar, boat fishing dock with a lake for water sports, 7,500 square foot meeting space for corporate events and weddings, and the $20 million water park that I showed you just earlier with the flow rider, lagoon style pool, water slides, kiddie pool, lazy river, and a 4,000 square foot bar and grill, which I showed you earlier. So there are 136 units, condo hotel units in this project, 80 studios and 56 1 bedrooms. So they're smaller units, much more geared towards an investor, I would say. Construction started in the summer of 2020, and they anticipate delivering sometime next year. They're not going to deliver by the end of this year. So the Sanderling, which is the 1 bedroom units, they start at $204,000 and up. Those are the studio with 1 bathrooms at $204,000 and up. And they do have lock-offs to adjoining condo units, which are very attractive because again, if there's somebody that has a 1 or 2 bedroom and they need an extra guest, that lock-off unit allows them to utilize that space. The Osprey is our 1 bedroom units, and I don't know what happened to the pricing. They start, I believe, I'll have to double check the pricing on it, but it's like in the high 2s, low 3s. And then the 1 bedroom, probably the 2 bedroom, 1 bath units, the Cardinal units, they start out at $369,000 and up. So those are a little bit bigger. They're going to accommodate more people. So if you have a family, this is probably a good unit to purchase. They are offering a 10% leaseback program for 13 months. If you put a deposit down in November, you'll have until December of next year. So actually, I think they were extending it 1 extra month. So it was almost 13 months on a leaseback. The leaseback nets right around 6% after all of your maintenance expenditures, but that's guaranteed over the next 13 months. Now, the Terraces to reserve a unit is $5,000 to reserve a unit. 20. Then again, this is for foreign nationals. 20% within 30 days of going under a contract. The 5,000 initial deposit, 20% within 30 days, an additional 10% within 30 additional days, and then a balance of the deposits, 5 to 10%, okay, are going to be due at closing. So they can finance somewhere between 30 and 40% for foreign nationals, depending on the programs. If you want to speak to one of our lenders on pricing and you know, what your APR is going to be on the loans, I'm more than glad to connect you with one of their lenders. They actually have a lender here in South Florida that I'm going to visit with shortly, and I need to learn those programs inside and out. So the next project we're going to talk about is a Lennar Homes project. Lennar is one of the biggest builders here in the United States. The two builders that we're going to talk about next are Lennar and Pulte. They're two of the largest builders. Pulte is the largest builder in the US. Lennar, I think, is number 2 or 3. So these are fantastic builders, super reputable. This project called Story Lake is an exceptional location. It's like 5 minutes from Disney World. It doesn't get better as far as location
Like 5
goes.
minutes from everything.
Yeah, it's really centrally located to almost everything in Orlando. 959 total home sites, 4 different collections. They have condos, which they're about to sell out, a handful of units of condos left, to villas and townhouses and single family residences. So they start from the high 200s for the condo units. So the condo units, the ones that are still left, they're somewhere between 296 and 339,000. Roughly, there are 447 units. They are 2 and 3 bedrooms. This is sort of what the front of the building looks like. This is the aerial view of the construction. These are what the single family homes look like. There are 147 home sites available, and they are 6 to 8 bedrooms. Actually, I recall, Lauren, didn't we look at a 10 bedroom in there? I think they actually have a 10 bedroom floor plan as well.
It might have been an 8 that they converted into a 10 somehow.
Maybe it was like bonus rooms that you could have, but I thought it was 10 different rooms. I mean, that thing was like sprawling. It was like a 5,000 square foot house. And we just kept on walking and
crazy.
walking.
That was the first themed house that I ever saw. I was like, now it's like second nature, but that one I was like, what? Like theming meaning with all the Disney theming or the Star Wars theming or Harry Potter. I mean, there was one property we were looking at. It was not in Story Lake. It was a resale. I think it was, what was it? 3.5 million, which is a shack in Toronto. But anyway, and it had one of the Harry Potter rooms had a Harry Potter train in the room, like a full size.
The whole train was in the room. Yeah,
it was insane.
So, you know, what Lauren is alluding to is, you know, for the daily rentals, you know, you don't have to go crazy on like this project. You know, you could, they sell like wallpaper that you could literally put on a wall, and it has all of the Marvel heroes. Okay. And so, you know, my friend bought a $1.3 million house that yields her about 250,000 in revenue a year, but she put into the not at this project, at another project, but she put in like $100,000 infinity pool. She themed out every single room like Lauren was talking about. And so, you know, in key season, that property might yield $1,600 a night. Okay. But that's a 10 bedroom home. And so depending on, not everyone's going to afford or want to take on an 8 or 10 bedroom home. So they have homes starting at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bedrooms. And what you can also do is when the management company is promoting these projects, they promote it in Airbnb as a 6, as a 7, as an 8, as a 9, as a 10 bedroom, because some families need extra space, some need less. So they'll lock off the rooms that aren't being utilized if it's rented to, let's say, a 6 bedroom user versus an 8 bedroom user. And these are sort of the facades of the different floor plans that you see. The pricing is in the 6, and it actually goes up higher than 7, 12. I think that the 10 bedrooms were like 8 and change or something along those lines, plus obviously upgrades. What I will tell you about Lennar, and Lauren was alluding to this the other day, I think when we were on the phone, they build smart homes. So all of their homes have smart technology in there. They have Alexas, smart doorbells, all that kind of stuff. And they also, they give a really, really nice base finish, right? A lot of these developers give a lousy base finish. You really don't need to put a ton into the finishes in the property, you're better off spending more money on nice furnishings and theming out the rooms. So these are what the villas look like.
Greg, so the first two projects come furnished. These two, do they, are you able to get them furnished, or are you furnished after?
Yeah, I think the management companies have furnisher packages that you can purchase and financing that's available. But the other two projects are completely furnished, so you don't have to deal with that at all. The vacation villas, there's 118 of the villas. They're just like the single family homes, a little bit tighter. You know, some of them, I think they're detached in there, so they're sort of like single family, but they're tighter lot lines. 5 and 6 bedrooms, they start in the 5s. So that's pretty much the story on them. Amenities wise, they have a clubhouse, resort style pool, a family pool, lazy river, water slide, swim up bar, beach entry, a spa, fitness center, theater, game room, kids club, tiki bar, volleyball courts, and a sundry store for snacks. The HOA fees on the townhouses are about $379 a month after all the dues. The single family residences range around $566 after all of the different features that they offer. The buying process on these units is $5,000 to put a reservation on the property. The balance of 10% is due within 15 days of execution of an agreement. The remainder of a 30% deposit, so another 20% deposit, is required within 90 days of going under contract. And if there's any additional funding required, balance will be due at close. You know, if you use these lenders in almost in every project, if you use their in-house lenders, they're giving some sort of concession. Like the condo hotel I started with, they give a $5,000 concession if you use their in-house lender, even if you pay cash. So there are closing cost concessions that are available. The last project that we're going to talk about, and I know I'm going over these projects really quick, I don't want to keep you guys here all night. If you are interested in any of these projects and want to speak to the sales staff on site, we can introduce you to the in-house salespeople, jump on a Zoom call together, get your questions answered, connect you with the management companies to find out about all of their fees and go over financing options. So Windsor Island, we actually have one client that's already just put a deposit down on a unit. He's on a waiting list. They're on a waiting list right now. Windsor has several different resorts throughout Disney. This one's in Davenport. It's a few miles away from Disney World. I think 8 miles away from Disney. They start in the low 400s. They have 9 different designs, 5 through 10 bedroom single family residences, 4 to 8 baths, and some of them have no garage. Some will have 1 and 2 bedroom, 2-car garages. This is a little bit about the community. There's 617 units. It's a master plan community, resort amenities on site. You know, this is being built by Pulte, which has a huge international brand recognition. It's a gated community, 24-hour man-gated community. Minutes from all of the attractions. You're close to Disney and Universal and Epcot and pretty much everything. They have shingle roofs throughout the community. There's a private heated pool on premises in the clubhouse. And you have owner storage closets. So
but most of these units come with pools.
Yeah, yes, many of them do, and you can choose to add a pool on. So they do stainless steel appliances and granite throughout their kitchens. Blinds are included. There's a covered lanai with a child safety fence in the pools, washer and dryers on location. So this is pretty much a little bit about it. 8 miles from Disney World. That's what the homes look like for the most part. There's several different models you can choose from. This is what the water park is going to look like, and this is the site plan. So, you know, Windsor is located off of 192 and I-4, so and State Road 27. So it's close to the Millennium Mall, which Lauren loves to shop at, and the Florida Mall and all the outlets. And then transportation wise, you're only 30 minutes to Orlando International Airport. There's a grocery store with a Publix right up the block, and tons of recreation with all the different theme parks nearby. I think that's it, right, Lauren? Is that the last one, or is there more slides here?
I think that's it. Hold on a moment.
All right,
Now
I
I'm
made
just
it
going to
my
go
part
back.
much faster than I thought. So
Yeah, so if you want to stop screen sharing and I'll take over again.
all right, sounds good.
All right, I will go back to my presentation. All right, so thank you for all of that information. We'll answer questions at the end. I just wanted to kind of wrap things up and put a little bow on it for you guys. I mean, I bet everybody wants to buy all of these properties. So number 7 in our 7 benefits of working with our team is that you satisfy all of your check boxes by finding the best properties for you. Amazing investment opportunities, great cash flow, possible lease back, likely strong upside on sale, especially when you're buying pre-construction, of course. Hands off as you want to be, vacation home for you and your family, amazing amenities close to the theme parks, and financing options available. This slide, we are going to be creating a download out of it. This is the 10 steps to successful real estate investing in the US, specifically for Canadians, although for others too. But really, you can't do a proper investment. You can't create a proper investment strategy without following all 10 of these steps. And that's really it for today, just summing up what we're doing. I'm going to stop sharing. And yes, some of these slides are available to share. And does anybody have questions? I'm sure some of us will.
Lauren, we got a question actually as being mortgage agents. So will they fund the purchase price, like 30% of the purchase price? Or if we get in on a pre-build, will they fund 30% of the closed appraised price? If you know what I
No,
mean.
it's the purchase price.
It's the purchase price. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? I thought there'd be so many questions. I mean, personally, I like all of them, actually. I'd like to have a property in each of these buildings, each of these projects. I mean, you know, I'm in Orlando so much and I love Story Lake. It has everything you need. It's Lennar, it's a good name. Pulte is a great name, a little bit more out of the way. So if you want a little more quiet, Story Lake is not like as in the middle of things as the Embassy Suites one, because it's right across from Margaritaville, but you get as quiet or as loud as you want, right? And the Grove is on its own, kind of like in a little, it's kind of off the beaten path, but close to absolutely everything. And
Yeah,
it's
you're like 2 minutes from I-4, and it's just like it's hidden away.
right.
It's its own huge property, and you wouldn't even know it's there. There's like nothing
Right.
around it, and all of a
You have to
sudden,
drive into it. It's not off 192. I mean, it is off 192, but it's not directly off 192.
Right.
So it's a little more of a resort feel, I think. But
Yeah.
the homes at Story Lake and Windsor are just gorgeous. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you want a condo, are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking for that lease back option, which is not available at the single family properties? What are your goals? Do you want to build an investment portfolio? Do you just want one for your family? Do you want one that you can have for your family and to lease out as well? And if you're doing this to use for your family, there are limitations on your personal use with the lease back option, but the lease back option is only for 12 to 24 months. So those limitations only apply for those 12 to 24 months if the lease back is in there.
right? And you know, I know we have some other agents from other states on and I think in Canada as well on the call. So we are certainly going to be willing to cooperate with agents that might have buyers that are looking to relocate or buy a vacation home, Airbnb property here in Central Florida. So reach out to Lauren or I, and we can discuss the details of that. I see some of our friends on the line right now. So.
And I will share this recording with everybody that registered and, well, didn't register, just gave me your email address. I guess I registered you, but this is just our first try. So hopefully we're going to get better as time goes on and be able to present this even more efficiently. But if you guys have questions and you don't want to ask them in a group, you can ask them individually. You can ask them on Workplace. If you're with EXP, you can ask them by text. We're here for you. How many, let's see, I think that at least half of this call, at least half were Canadians.
Mhm.
So including me.
I got another quick question.
Mike, I start
Craig,
charging
you
after the
mentioned
first
the,
question, you know?
Oh, do you?
I am a lawyer
Leanne
after
can
all.
ask
I have to
I
charge
like
somewhere,
engaging
don't
their
I?
minds, Lauren.
That's
Let them
right.
speak.
So
Pardon me?
the Hilton Embassy, you mentioned it's they'll market it to the Hilton brand. So
Yes.
can people book like with their points, and then I guess Hilton would just dollar value, dollar
Oh,
cost.
I don't
I
know.
believe so. That's a good question. I
That's
have to
interesting,
double
yeah.
check. But
Yeah.
one other thing she did mention that I didn't bring up, right? You know how Embassy Suites you can get really sloshy during happy hour, and they have that really nice breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
So for $25 for the room for the night for owners, you can utilize all of that. So like, I mean, let me tell you, you go out in Orlando for a family of 5, I spend like $200 on breakfast. So $25 for breakfast, and then Lauren, what did she say? Guest that of yours to stay, I think $40. So that's for the entire family per day as well. But I'll try to get clarity on that question for you.
We want to know if it's well drinks or no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there's a bar rail.
Right, exactly. Listen, for you guys up there in Canada, okay, just get me out of the cold. I don't care. Just give me whatever, and I'm done. I'm down for this. So
Yeah, and that project at which I didn't mention, the project at Hilton directly across the way, they're building 300 more condos. They haven't broke ground. It's like in initial stages. Lauren and I were reading the Orlando Business Review. I don't even recall the name of the project yet, but there's going to be
so
a
many
slew of restaurants and a slew of entertainment directly across the street. So location wise, it just gets better and better as time goes on.
I mean, it's amazing because, you think of Orlando and you think of Disney and this place that the mouse built, right? And it's just celebrating 50 years this year and went through a pandemic, and the place, I mean, Karen is in Orlando. I don't know who else that's on the call is in Orlando, but the city is like, I mean, I used to go when I was little. Every single year we would drive from Toronto all the way to Florida. 24 hours of driving every single year. I told somebody at baseball today, she's like, you did what? I'm like, yep, that's what we did every year. Okay. So, and my parents kept saying, we're going to move to Florida. It never happened. Then I just moved.
Right.
Anyway,
it's not just Disney, right? It's like
it's not just Disney, and it's crazy, the traffic, and something that's supposed to be like, when you look on the Jeep like, if you find a restaurant that you want to go to and it says it's 3 miles away, it's 40 minutes. I'm like, how can it take 40 minutes to get 3 miles? Like, it just, it sounds like Toronto, right? In Toronto, you can't drive anywhere without spending 40 minutes. It's like that in Orlando now. But the beauty of these projects is that they have such proximity to everything that you don't need to deal with that. You're just right there in the thick of things.
Yeah, 40 minutes, it's Kennedy Space Center and all these different points of interest. It's just.
And they also said today in the Orlando Business Journal that they are expecting the Port Canaveral cruise ship port to be the second busiest cruise ship port in the world by 2023. Wow. So they're really upping that. It's actually, we cruised, actually, I met Craig on a cruise that left from that port
almost 2
years ago. And I was very impressed. I usually go from Fort Lauderdale. And we're actually going on 2 cruises from Miami during Christmas, but Port Canaveral is organized, it's fast, it's simple. Like, it's not the crazy, going to Miami Port is not that fun. Just saying.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other final questions, guys?